Good morning, y'all. We're going to be in the book of James today. All right. So, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. All right. So, guys, first of all, he's stating his faith. He's saying exactly what he's doing. He is of God and of Jesus Christ. And that's important, y'all. So. He's talking to the Jews, the 12 tribes that are scattered, and we're studying those tribes in Genesis 32, where we're at normally. So, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations. Okay? So, yeah. Let's slide up there to where he's at. James. Okay. Various kinds. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. Okay? And that's like I was saying earlier when I went live and tried to do 1 Peter chapter 4 and 5. 'Cause I just don't feel like, y'all, I can teach and look at all the questions and names and greet them as they're coming in. I don't feel like that is doing the word a service. But I am going to try to go live, and I tried a couple times just being on a debate, a conversation about, Christianity, or just a debate about stuff. Christianity and atheism and all that, defending the faith. But okay, so my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Okay, so God, what he's saying is that suffering is part of your duty. We're guaranteed suffering. I'm not saying that it has to happen, but that's what it's. But that is a normal thing. That your faith is going to be tested and tried. Okay, and I don't mean by going through your own crap that you have brought on yourself through your regular stuff. We're talking about things that are out of your control, natural disasters, persecutions, and that's a tough topic trying to describe that situation. Okay, so we're going to push on. Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. All right, let me check 5 on that. 1:5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. All right, guys. So it's important for us to differentiate when these sufferings and trials come. We need to be able to differentiate whether that's our own fault that we're suffering or because we're righteously suffering. There's a difference. Okay. Either way, even if it is your own fault that you're suffering, which has been my case in my life, going to prison, going to these different things that were, hard or stressful. I did that all to myself. I can't sit there and say, "Oh, I'm suffering. This is a trial of my faith." It can be, but you got to be able to admit your role in it. Okay, so I think more what he's talking about here is just going through hard times and stuff for the sake of righteousness. I think that's what he's talking about, and it's so if you're sitting in jail or prison and somebody's doing something to you, don't sit there and say that you're suffering for righteousness' sake because your own crimes put you there. That's the illustration I'm trying to make. Or so, but it's that's just a more mature level of understanding, being able to differentiate that. So when things go left, guys, make sure your faith is going to be tested, because that's going to endure patience when you can be tested in your faith. All right, but let's push on for a minute. But let him ask in faith. Verse 5 again. If anyone of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. I'm going to check that here. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not. It shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. All right, guys, so basically the only thing we should be asking for is to understand God. He's provided all other things, y'all. He's provided the Christ. He's provided our destination. He's provided food in the world. He's provided everything you need for your body. You just need to have wisdom to see the Christ. And it just says in verse 5 again, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. Okay. So, to me, what I get out of this, y'all, is, let me finish this paragraph. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Okay. Now, that's the world. That was me. It's normal to have doubts. Look at Peter. He was with the Christ, and he still denied the Christ 3 times. Okay, so Peter was with the Christ. He was with him. He worked miracles after he died. And even then, he still denied the Christ 3 times, and was told that he was going to. So it's normal to have doubts, y'all. But don't ask for nothing out of place. God has already done all the work that matters to you. God has already done all the work that matters to you. Don't be asking for stuff that doesn't need to be done. You know, you want to pray for somebody's well-being, you want to pray for protection, fine, but you can only pray for so much and expect results. So, but over here it says, ask for wisdom. Ask for wisdom, so that God can let you see the truth that I'm telling you, that God has done all things. All things are taken care of. You know, all things are taken care of so that you can be in peace. Okay, there's really nothing you should be asking for other than understanding, so that you can get to your destination in glory. That's really all you should be asking for, if you ask me. Okay, so take or leave it. Let the lowly and that's why I think he said it like that, was because, you know, because even in suffering, we know if you have this outlook, okay, God's done all things, we're suffering, you know, that's okay. Let steadfastness have its full effect. Patience, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. So, you know, in this world that we're in, this fallen world, y'all, that pretty much covers it. You know, you can only get so far. We're you know, the body's dying. We have our destination made. You know, we're going on to heaven. Okay. And that's all you can ask for. So, I mean, you need to be understanding that and help me to understand, Lord, what's going on in the world and stuff like that. That's what you need to be asking for, understanding and wisdom. And you need to be telling God, hey, God, I know that your word is true. I know that you can help me understand this word. You can make this thing real for me. Stuff like that, you know, just be asking for wisdom and understanding, so that you can see that all things are already yours. You're a king. You are a child of God. If you're suffering, you're just being tested. Even if it is your own fault in your suffering, you still have to take a Christian position on that and own your part in it, and be and take it on the chin, because you know it's your fault. So quit crying and losing your new religion over this. All right, so I'm gonna push on for a minute, man. Because you should be praying for your faith, praying for understanding, praying that, for one, you need to know this is true. You need to believe in the Lord. That's first and foremost. First and foremost. These are just fundamental things he's trying to cover. He says right here, but let him ask in faith, and knowing that God gives understanding and wisdom. Because that's what wisdom is this. It's not being, you know, more noble than that. We're just people in the hands of an angry God, y'all. That's all we are. Okay? For that person must not be supposed that he. So if you don't have these fundamental things down, and it says the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. If you don't have these fundamental things, don't expect to feel secure in life, because you're not going to. You're not going to feel secure because your whole ideology is off. You don't believe that the Christ is real. You don't believe. You have your doubts. You're on the fence. You know, and that's the devil's workshop. That's what he does. And so, a lot of the doctrines in the world, you know, a lot of stuff is anti-Christ spirit in the world. And yes, the Lord allows that. God allows this stuff to happen. Nothing happens without the Lord. Nothing happens in the world without the Lord allowing it. So, So what? And that's a mystery of why that happens. That's a mystery. It happens in a way like that so that when faith comes, it's designed like that for faith to come. Don't ask me how or why that works. It just works. Okay. It's kind of like a plant. When it goes through hard conditions, a plant will be stronger. So, with that analogy, and not always the case, but a lot of times that is a known science, a known thing that when a lot of time when you just give a plant everything it needs, just tons of water, it's not always good for a plant, because guess what? As soon as something happens, it just doesn't. It's not very. I don't know exactly how that works, but I do know that plants that are subjected to droughts and stuff like that can and are known to be more enduring, because they have stamina, they have training almost. And when I look at the world and its lack of faith, and it's not really apparent, and there's a lot of teachings out there and stuff. So that in that way, that is an analogy for the plant that doesn't have everything it needs, and it just has more. It's more stout in spirit, I guess you could say, not literally in spirit, but whatever it is that makes the plant go on. It has more stamina because of the conditions that it's been in. So I say that to explain why the world is the way it is, and God has it that way for a reason, and He allows things to go on to cultivate this stuff that's going on. It's cultivating, because if it was just all out there like it really is, then our faith wouldn't be what they are. It takes these conditions, I believe. This is my theology. It takes these type of conditions to have the type of faith that we have. Okay. So I don't know how all that works. I think I'm onto something. Could be wrong. But yeah. So let the lowly brother boast. Hold on, verse 9. So I don't know if you guys are catching what I'm saying about the analogy between the and I've used this analogy before, like Navy SEALs and stuff. They go through all this rigorous training, so they're going through hard conditions. But guess what? In the end, you have a soldier. You have that's ready for just about anything. You cannot kill these people. So in a world that's harsh when it comes to faith in God and stuff like that, it's kind of like training. It's kind of like, a plant that goes through all these things, going through droughts and that. Guess what? Those plants can just about take anything, because that what they've been through. And I don't know how all that works, but all I know is it works. So when I look at the world and why faith is not so apparent in these strange teachings, I think it's like God cultivating us so that we can push through and become what we're supposed to. I know it's not really making a good connection, but it is to me. It makes sense, in a sense. Eating and preaching, I don't know about that. Cake at that. All right, now. Verse 8. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted. Let the lowly brother boast in his exaltation, and the rich in his humiliation, because like a flower of the grass he will pass away, for the sun rises. Pass away. For the sun rises, its scorching heat, and withers the grass, its flower falls. But what he's saying, God, we got to have our heart set on God. These things of the world will come and go. When you have faith like that. Now, he's not saying just go live in the desert under a tree. You know, although people used to do that, Buddhists, people used to do that. Yeah. And that reminds me of a story in Daniel where a king was, a great pharaoh or a king was literally humbled. I think he had the vessels brought that were stolen from the temple, and they started drinking with him, isn't that? Basically, either way, he got turned into a cow and started eating grass for like a year. And he just came back. It was like a moment in time. But he was in the sun and stuff, and he became literally a cow and like just eating grass and stuff for like a year. And he came back and he said, "Whoa, you are surely the living God. I mean, this is surely from the living God." So, where I was drawing that connection, I lost that. But the point is that all of your lofty things, your money, your position, don't let this guide or your faith. Although you should be, you know. I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, I'm getting a little too philosophical, y'all. But yeah, that's what happened to a king in Daniel, man. Yep. A lofty king. He got sent to, he basically left his body, had a vision, and was there for like 3 years or something, or a long time. And then they brought him back. God brought him back and humbled him. He literally was turned into like a cow or butt naked in the grass somewhere, surviving on grass and stuff in the middle of nowhere. And he was humbled. So God, what he's saying is, let the rich man in his humiliation, because like a flower of the grass, he will pass away. And let the lowly brother boast in his exaltation. One 9. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted. And the rich in his humiliation. So if you're right with the Lord, you can be okay with anything, and it's not out of place because we know where it matters. We know where our heart is. Okay, it's okay. We're grounded. We are lacking nothing. As verse 4 says, and let steadfastness have its full effect. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. And that's the way we should be. We're complete with the Lord. The Lord comes in, we're okay. We know we're living the Spirit-led life. We're not giving in to these terrible things and these idolatries and all that. And we're okay. We're complete. We know what's going on. We have trust in the Lord. Stuff like that. And we can ask for the Lord to come in and be more intimate with us and show us more. If we feel like we don't see enough, we can ask the Lord to show us more. But be careful what you ask for, okay? Be careful what you ask for. All right. So he's basically saying, have the Lord as your priority, because so also would the rich man fade away. So also will the rich man fade away in the midst of his pursuits. Verse 12. James chapter 1 verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to them that love him. There it is. Don't do it. It doesn't say that you're once saved, always saved. It doesn't say that. It says, blessed is the man that endureth temptation. Endureth temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Okay? Don't sit here and tell yourself you love the Lord if you're giving in to your stuff, because you can't have both. End of story. Okay. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man, when is tempted, when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. So guys, the devil's using your own self against you. The sin that's inside of you, the sinful flesh, the pride of life, the lust of the eyes, greed, not acknowledging God. All these things, the devil is using all of your own stuff against you. Twisting it, turning it, spoiling it. Okay, so don't think that God is tempting you. You just haven't harnessed yourself. You haven't grabbed. You haven't gotten control over your own gifts and your own stuff. You're using it. You're using your love for God on your love for your own flesh. God gave you those desires so that you could gave you the lustful desires so that you could enjoy your wife and be attracted to your wife. That's why he gave you that. Okay, it's being twisted and perverted by the devil. Okay, it's not meant to be run rampant like that. All right. So God gave you those things so you could be satisfied and enjoy your life. But that's just an image of what it's supposed to mean, that when you are attracted to God in the spirit, you're supposed to be attracted to God like you are to not in the same sense, but that is an image of what God can be for you. Not in that lustful way, but you should desire God like you desire a woman's body almost, but not in the same sense. Okay, just saying. Not in a lustful way, but desire. That is desire. You should desire the Lord, you should desire the Lord. Period. But that earnestness that you feel, that passion, that is not supposed to be in that direction. Like that. In the other direction. That passion is supposed to be for God and for your righteousness. Okay? So that's important to realize, guys, that anytime we sin, that stuff within us is not part of the world. I mean, it's in the world, but it's not supposed to be. Okay? It is. I mean, God allowed that to happen. But He didn't cause it to happen. I don't think. So we have to separate ourselves from the world. This world is a world. It's not us. This world is it's a place we live in. It's not us. Don't let the things of this world that are happening externally become part of your character, or let it become a part of your character. Yeah, stuff goes on. You need to recognize that those things are not acceptable to God. Yeah, people do drugs. Yeah, people do this and get drunk all the time. All this. Yeah, people are doing a lot of stuff. You have to understand that this is a testing ground. This is a cultivating place. You have to pass a series of tests and trials while also adopting the Christ. So we need to realize that the sin is it starts internally. Just like, I don't want to get too deep, but yeah, it starts internally with us. Nobody forces us to sin. It's not a natural part of you. Anytime you sin, you do that completely of your own will. It's not just going to happen to you. You're not just going to sin. It's not a part of you. Okay? When you sin, you're doing that willingly. It is not a natural part of you. The potential is there. It can happen, but it's coming from within you. It's not something that's forced. But you need to resist, because it says it right there. All right, now. Let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Okay. Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. That's just the natural route. That's what happens. It's not really that, everything is a misconception, And I'm trying. Death is only so bad because it's not natural. It's not a part of our natural thing. We're not supposed to die. But today it's becoming an accepted thing. No, we need to understand that, man. Death came into the world through sin. The Lord defeated death. He did that. He took the keys of hell, of death. The death of death. So, I don't know if it's been finalized, but it's happening, okay? So, I don't know if the devil's on bond or what, but something's going on, okay? So, we need to realize that the only reason all this stuff happens is a fallen away state. Don't adopt the ways of this world with this whole death thing. Don't adopt that. That's not a natural part of the world. That came into the world. Okay? That is an important point to me. And this isn't our best video, but one moment. Alright, so and verse 16. Do not err, do not err. Do not be deceived, my beloved brothers. And he's basically saying everything I'm saying, y'all. Before I even say it, he's basically saying everything I'm saying. So, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Of his own will begat he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Okay? For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. This is just saying everything I was just saying, y'all. He's differentiating the world from God and what we're supposed to be. He's telling us to separate ourselves from sin and realize that it's not God doing that. It's coming from within us. The sin is hatching, that we're being lured and enticed by our own stuff. Okay? That's in us. So God, the devil is using your own self against you. It's a dirty game. It's a dirty game. I mean, you can't get no lower than that. You know, he's not really doing anything to you. He's using your own self against you. So that's kind of like a low ball game. You know, you don't want to be. That's kind of bad when you know. I'm trying to think of an example, but yeah, it's pretty bad, man. When the devil is using your own stuff against you without any real cause. There's not really any real reason for doing that. You know, but if it has to be this way so that we become what we're supposed to become, then that's the way God designed it. So I can't argue with God. No. Okay, so because that's my higher level of understanding, I think my theology is that all this had to be the sin, the death, the devil, you know, the Christ. If my theology is correct, all this had to happen to get where we're supposed to go. So, which goes to show the severity of God and how real this is. That it can get a lot worse too. So just chill, you know. Of his own will he begat he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, for the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. Wherefore, lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Let's go to 21. 121. Therefore put away all filthiness and rampant wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your souls. Okay. And rampant wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your souls. He's basically saying to separate yourself from the world and all of the things that go on in it. You know. rampant wickedness. That's drug addiction. You know, it doesn't let up. You have to have it every day. You got to do strange things, smoke it, inject it, snort it. You know, you got to do strange things to get where you need to be with the drugs. And it's not just drugs, it's other stuff too. You know, if you got a gambling addiction and it takes so much of your time that by the time you do get back to where you're supposed to be, you're too tired to do anything because you've been up isolating, gambling. By the time you do get back to your family or whatever that you think that doesn't matter, you don't have any responsibility probably. So by the time you do get back, and you're just worn out, and so all your time you spend gambling. It's not just about that. You're not only are you not with your family when you're gambling, then by the time you get back, you're worth nothing at that point because you're so tired because all your energy was spent gambling. So it's not just drugs, it's gambling, it's porn, it's sex, it's it's anything. It's anything. Your job, your lack of God, you don't give glory to God. You know. In one of my shorts, I hit the nail on the head. I said, "Oh, you did this, you did that. It's by you. It's by you. None of that is you." So we need to give credit where it's due. But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Yeah. We get that a lot. We just hear it. We don't do any action. And that's most of the time. Don't just hear the word. Do the word. Well, how can you do it if you don't hear it? How can you hear it if you don't want to see it? I mean, you talk about being off course. You guys aren't even on the map. You guys aren't even in the right dimension. Not only are you not doing it, you're not hearing it. You're not hearing it. You don't want to hear it. So you guys aren't even in this Bible. You guys are a character that isn't even spoken of here. That's how far off y'all are. I say y'all, not everybody, but they're out there. When you just turn your back on this and you design your own religion in your mind, oh, we're saved or once saved, always saved. No, that is not what that is. That is not what that is. Not only are you not doing it, you're not hearing it. Why are you not hearing it? You don't want to hear it. You've made up your mind. You decided the rules of your religion. It goes on and on. But I tell you, I'm here to tell you guys, that's not the case. That is not the case. Okay? For if any man be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. Okay? But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, there it is, continueth therein. Continueth therein. There it is. There it is. You're not once saved, always saved. Continueth therein. Let's go up here. 25. And I'm about to read this through. And in the same way, but the one who looks. Let me slide down. He is like a man who looks intently in his natural face in the mirror, where he looks at himself and goes away and at once forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect law of liberty and perseveres, being no hearer, and continues, as I said, over here and perseveres. Guys, you're not once saved, always saved. Period. Being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing. Okay? If anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless. Religion is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained from the world. Classic Christian stuff. Caring for the orphans, bringing them what they need, making sure they're okay. That's just classic Christian behavior. Caring for people in need. Okay, so guys, what he's saying back here, let me back up. And I've mentioned that before, about the orphans and the widows. Let me back up over here. Because this is why I'm a fan of King James, because a lot of stuff gets watered down. Okay. Got a couple minutes. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty, that's the rights that we have in our actions. We have a right to do what we want. But guess what? There's a higher law. We're getting judged. Okay. And continueth therein. The law of liberty means you're doing the right thing by your own choice. Lady Liberty. All this stuff. All this stuff, man. All this stuff. It's quick to be in denial. You can walk straight away in sin and think nothing of it. But you're doing that of your own mind. You're not following scripture by doing that. You can say you're once saved, always saved. You can sin and keep sinning and keep sinning and keep sinning. Stick needles in your arm, watch porno, beat your wife. Whatever it is that you're doing, lying, cheating, stealing, gambling. I'm not saying that gambling is necessarily a sin if controlled. I'm just saying neither is drinking a glass of wine. I'm not saying that also it's all taken out of proportion. Okay, there's a place for everything, for the most part. There's a place for everything. There's a place for sex. There's a place for stuff. There's a place for everything. There's a place for drinking and making merry. There's a place for everything. Okay? So, there's a place for eating. So, guys, I say everything, not everything. Alright, so, but whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein. Continueth therein. Guys, do I need to expound on that, or do y'all get it? Continueth therein. That is not sinning. The perfect law of liberty has nothing to do with sin. You're not nowhere in the mix is talking about you can do this your stuff. Continueth therein. Come on, y'all. Come on. All right, y'all, chill. He being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. A doer of the work. Yeah, that does not mean sinning. Period. If any man among you seem to be religious, and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is in vain. Is vain. Okay? But when you're helping people, doing what you're supposed to do, visiting orphans and widows in their time of need, that is a pure religion because you're literally doing God's work. So, that's chapter 1, man, of James. I didn't really like this video. I'll go back and review it. I tried to go live earlier and teach. I wasn't feeling it. So I came back to my regular study. And that's where we're at today. So you gotta take the good with the bad and all that. So that's James chapter 1, y'all. We're on YouTube at Preach Facts. See you tomorrow.